Alright YouTube, in this video we are going to see how to filter list. So you can see I'm typing something on the text box and the list is getting filtered. We are not just getting filtered, you can see the error messages showing up along with the marker. You can see that when I type A, whatever the A is the list is getting highlighted. Fine. Now you'll get the source code in the description box. Now we are going to follow some of the steps. So these steps I will leave it in the description box. So in this course we will see how to filter the list, and I will show you how to show the error message, and we are going to add a highlighter, a text highlighter with text color yellow. Fine. The very first thing what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how is the HTML structure. So the file structure has one HTML, one script tag, and one style sheet. So this is the HTML. We have font awesome. You can see there is the font awesome over here. It is because of this link in the head tag. Followed by these, we have our custom style sheet on the same directory, and then we have the script. Let me remove it and save it in the backup text, and let us start from scratch. Fine. Now this is the input field. We have the ID called my input. So I'm going to save all the ID in the notepad so that I can use in the JavaScript. Now we have a UL, which is unordered list. It has an ID UL, my UL, and inside that each list item has anchor tag, and inside the anchor tag we have font awesome along with the text, and finally we have a div. So this div is simply gives the text no data found. Fine. Let's start with the script. Now it's time to filter the list. The first thing we are going to do is we are going to hide the error message. So when page loads, we don't want the error message over here. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this div by ID. So in JavaScript we call it by document.getElement by ID. So we will get that div. So we have saved it in our notepad. This is the ID, and I'm going to store it into a variable no data found, and I'm going to style it in the JavaScript .style.display equal to none. So when this page loads, the script will run the style. So if you refresh it, you will not find no data found div. So in the HTML you can see after Bhopal there is the div. So in the actual HTML, after the script runs, there is no div because the script hides the div. The second thing, we are going to add listener to the input field. We have the same way. I'm going to copy some of the ID. I'm going to use the same name for the variable, and this is for the UL. Get the UL and save it to a variable. Now I'm going to get the input field variable, and I'm going to add the listener on key up. So whenever I type something, this event get fired. And in the next parameter I will give the function name filter list. So this function will automatically run when I click on the text field. So if you see, let me alert something and show you. Once I click on the input field, that means the key is up. Once I click something, you can see on key up, this function is getting executed. So what we need is we want the text of the input field. To get the text, e.target.value will give you the text fields text. So let me store it into a variable called input text. So let me console and log and show you. Console log will give you the message on the console section. If I type A, you can see on the console section the A is getting added. So now I'm going to convert it to capital case. Previously I was typing small a, I was getting the small a only. Now if I type small a, I'm getting the capital A because of that function it's dot to uppercase. Fine. Now what we're going to do is get all the text from the list field. For that, we have the container ul. I have stored it into a variable. This is the ul, and I'm going to get elements by tag name. Inside we have li. So we have more than one li. So let me show you how many li's we have. If I console and log it and show you, I think there's an error. We have to use the class name, so the variable name. You say the ul is not defined. It is because my ul is the variable. If you see, if I type something, you can see the list we have got. So I'm going to access it one by one. To get access the one by one, I'm going to use the for loop. This for loop will run till the total number of list item is there. So that's the reason I'm passing li.length. Now to access it, li, we have to call it with the index number starting from 0. We have total as 15. Li dot, sorry, we have to pass the index. It's not dot, it's like this. So I'm showing you the text, whatever text inside there, as a message on the console.log. So if you see the for loop will run one by one, and all one by one text is fetched on the console message. So now we are going to compare the text with the list. So let me store it into a variable called list text. Previous, now we have two variables. The first one is input text, the second one is list text. We're going to compare both of them. If the list text does dot index of, we need to pass the index of, we have to pass the input text. So if it matches, we will get the if we will get more than one as a numeric value. If we don't get any match, that means we will get -1. So if it is more than -1, that means the match, we need to add a class, and this class will be simply display none. So when there is a match, I want to show, that means I want to remove the class. So access it with the index number, and I'm going to style, we are going to add with class list dot remove. So hide is the class I'm going to remove. If there is -1, then we need to add. When we get -1, we will only get when there is no match. So that means we need to add the class hide. So that means the only two left. You can see we are getting filtered properly. We have done this. Now it's time to show the error message. We need to understand the logic over here. The logic is, we are going to get the total number of classes. The class name is hide. So let me show you. Count the number of list item. To get the list item count, li.length. Let me show you in the message as a console message. If you refresh, then we will get the total number of list item. Now we are going to get the total number of hide class. Let's get the class name. The class name is inside the li. The li is inside the ul. We have defined the ul variable dot get elements by class name. We have to type it, get elements by class name. We have to pass the class hide, and I'm going to store it into a variable. Let's name the variable as, you can give any number, any name. I'm going to give hide classes. So let me again console log and check the length of the class. Hide class dot length will give the length of total number of classes in the document. It's not in the document, it's inside the ul. So there is an error. Let me see what it is. I have missed the plus sign. Fine. Now if you see, if you type a, that means 3 of the list item has class. You can see 3 out of 15 li, we have 3 hide class. Now let me type something else. Out of 15 li, we have 10 hide class. So these are the things, these are the list item which has hide class. So when I type C, out of 15 there is 14 of the list item has class hide. Now if I type something X, that means 15 of them has 15, total number of list item is 15, and this total number has hide class. That means there is no match. So if there is no match, so if there is 15, so if it is 15, what we have to do is we are going to show the message. Previously we have hidden it, now we are going to show it. This step shows that if none of the list matches, that means all of them will have the hide class. So all of the list item has hide class, then show the div, else make it none. I hope this is clear. If you type M, that means two of them. If I type X, that means all of them has the class hide. Now it's time for the highlighter. For that we are going to use a regular expression. Create a regular expression object. This regular expression object acts as a pattern. Inside that I'm going to pass the text field, and globally, not just one search, I need multiple search. That's the reason why I'm giving globally, and just save it to a reference called regex pattern. Now we're going to replace the text of the list item. We are going to replace it with a span tag. Let me show you. This is the list item text. I'm going to replace it with, I'm going to search for my pattern, which is regular expression. I'm going to replace it with the span tag, and inside the span tag it will have the searched key, or you can say the searched letter. Since I'm using HTML, I'm going to use the quotes, or you can use backticks. Let's go the traditional way, quotes. So it says my pattern will be replaced with the whatever I type inside the input field. Along with that we need a class called bglo. It will simply highlight with the background color as yellow. Fine. Now let me console and show you what it really does. So before console I want it to append. Now let me console it. Now if I type something on the input field, let me type a, let me type m. So what happens is wherever the place m is there, the m would be replaced with the span tag along with the typed input field text. You can see m is surrounded with the span tag. This is clearly working. Now what we are going to do is we are going to get the list item, and inside the list item we know we have the anchor tag. To access the anchor tag I will use first child. So inside the first child I'm going to append this. Since we have the span tag, we have to use inner HTML. The error is because there is a space. The inner HTML is the right one. The error is because there is a space between the angle bracket and the span. Let me remove the space and it will work fine. You can see now it's working absolutely fine. Now we know when the page loads there was the marker, but the marker is missing after the search. So for that, copy the HTML and store it into a variable called, you can give any name, and we are going to append it to the list item, and you have to just add it. Now it will work. That's all for this video. Thank you so much for listening. Get the source code in the description. Yeah, the codes is the problem. I'm going to use a backtick over here. There won't be any issue. You can see the marker has shown up. Thank you so much for listening.